I arrived at the edge of the water just after midnight. The smell of salt and brine hovered in the air, mingling with something metallic that I couldn't name. A single towel lay abandoned on the dock, wet and stiff. I stepped closer and saw footprints, one set disappearing into the dark, the other stopping at the water's edge. No one should have been out here. Then I felt it, the chill of guilt like a whisper against my skin. A name kept floating up in my mind: Anne. I knew that slip of a name meant someone had died and someone else had lied. The water didn't hide the secrets, it held them. I started with the file, the call history, the last known meeting. Capano, lawyer, married, public figure, and Anne Marie, his aide, a staffer in the governor's office. Their paths crossed, and then she disappeared. I followed the paper trail. A gun purchase 6 weeks prior, a story altered after the fact, a date that didn't fit. He claimed an accident. She found us together and threatened suicide. I read that lie again, the words detached. And then the photo from the construction site near his home showed up, time-stamped just hours before the disappearance. That photo had no face in it, just the shadow of someone watching. With each document, the calm voice inside me said, "Something is wrong." With every heartbeat, I felt the panic begin. The more I looked, the more people shifted when I spoke. Staffers who once smiled now barely met my eyes. Lawyers who answered the phone with practiced cheer sounded brittle. I sat in conference rooms listening to polite laughter that stopped dead when someone said, "Capano." I realized the murder wasn't about greed, not exactly. It was about control. The charm, the promises, the dominance over a life that trusted him. Anne Marie had known the power he held, and that became her undoing. In the hush of interview rooms I heard what was unspoken, fear that the next breath might pull the curtain back. I imagined the water clutching her body, the gun hidden, the power held. The next breath might expose the lie. Then the recording surfaced, a discreet interview of one of his other lovers, the one who bought the gun. The voice trembled as she said, "He asked me for the gun as a favor. He said, 'Just hold it until I say.'" I listened again. I pulled the small print documents, Capano as prosecutor, Capano as advisor to the governor, Capano the friend. His wife? 4 daughters. He had everything, except the truth. Anne Marie's body was never found, but the court heard the evidence. The lovers, the shell messages, the change of story. He went from accident to fear to, "I disposed of the body to protect us all." And the jury didn't believe him. The crime wasn't about a moment of passion. It was over years of obsession masked as entitlement. The silence of the missing body became louder than any scream in court. I watched him in the courtroom when the verdict came. Face of calm, grip of a man used to winning. He had built a fortress of reputation, but the evidence was the scalpel that cut the walls. The recording, the gun transaction, the email threads he left open, the lover who sold her story to save herself. They played it all. No shouting, no theatrics, just the cold delivery of truth. And when the judge read the guilty verdict, the man realized too late he had already lost. His partners in power slipped off the pedestal, and the man behind the law became the subject of it. The truth didn't shout, it waited, and then it delivered. When it was over, I left the building in silence. The city lights blurred in the rain haze. The case closed, the family broken, the man imprisoned. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no relief, only clarity. The shadows still cling to power, still whisper of secrets. I walked away not as a hero, but as someone who has seen the cost. The water will still collect leaves and debris. The charade will still unfold elsewhere. And I know now, justice was never about mercy.